United States military personnel, they're not fucking with this shit, bro. They understand what the fuck's going on. They are not with this shit. The majority of America's not with this shit.
Yeah, but
they want to try something different this time.
This is crying wolf, though.
It's not.
This is crying
it's
wolf.
It's not crying wolf. we're always going down a path of murder, slaughter, instead of saying, hey, let's fucking be men, take the fucking L, stop fucking with these people, and maybe we can go with historically where they've never fucked with us unprovoked. That maybe they'll stop fucking with us and just be men and admit the fuck that we were wrong and try to work something out in a more diplomatic fashion without so much fucking bloodshed.
Well, JD Vance is in Pakistan. He's negotiating a deal.
Look, hold on. And at that point, they're not willing to accept the fact that, the United States has been, hey, we did some shit we probably shouldn't have fucking done. We apologize. Let's do our best to try to make this right. And then they still want to say death to America. Then at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to do what we got to do because we're not going to let America fall. But why are we rushing to bloodshed before diplomacy? That's my question.
We are diplomatic all the time. Are you kidding me? Communication never stops.
And again, with these ceasefires, again, it has always been us in Israel to fuck up and go back on the fucking ceasefires we fucking commit to, bro.
Be fair, right? We've only had one sitting president go to the DMZ. One. The only sitting presidency to try diplomacy that ever went to the DMZ. That's Donald J. Trump. He went there. He believes in diplomacy. But if you're going to act like, what happened with the 12-day war? We obliterated the nuclear sites. All right, cool. We obliterated it. But they were going to have the ability to retrieve that material. And they already have
ballistic. And it's not obliterated, Anthony. Listen to what you just said. That it's not obliterated. If it can still retrieve it, it's not obliterated.
Okay, so I'm not saying that it was like the term obliterated is relative. It doesn't mean that they couldn't recover it. Based on the information we had at the time, we believed when he said it during the 12-day war, right after the 12-day war, that it was a successful mission. We didn't build up the troops immediately.
If we gotta go
we had bad intelligence.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is so weird. You guys are now definitions are relative. No, obliterated is not relative. Obliterated means obliterated since it's mean obliterated. So again, we gotta start looking at our administration. Then you're giving us false fucking information.
And then we just don't react to even give that information, right?
Had fucking Kitover was on there, and then some other nuclear scientists. They all were saying you couldn't destroy the material. Like, you can't do that.
Exactly.
You can't bomb it from the outside. It just doesn't work that way. I know you know that, and I think some people are like literally confused. He was referring to their sites. They were obliterated. Like, to say otherwise is just kind of weird. But that material, and we didn't know if they smuggled it out, which apparently they said that they were not going to cease production. Anything above 20% becomes weapon grades capable. And it becomes a point of saying, well, the rest of the world doesn't want you to have this. Like, nobody sides with you on having this. And so we're going to say you can't have this. And we're going to go ahead and intervene on that. So, I mean, even there, yeah, Trump may have used the wrong word, but the sites were obliterated. You just can't kill uranium that way. Otherwise, Chernobyl, we would have just carpet bombed it and then been like, all right, it's all cleaned up. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, and my point is this. In America, we can talk about intelligence. Let's stop believing our intelligence altogether. Let's just ignore it forevermore because we can't say that it's been accurate, right? So let's just ignore it. Let's ignore Israel's because it's maybe been wrong. So we ignore it. But the fact is that our intelligence didn't know they could go 2,500 miles. The intelligence doesn't know who has a gun in our own country. And you believe that they couldn't have maybe achieved it and moved it or have it at a secure location because the IAEA in 2025 said they have locations undisclosed to us, which was a violation, right? So the fact is, they could have it. We don't know. Our intelligence didn't know about their freaking other missiles. Now, we should know about those if they've been firing them off, right? But to have the warhead, they have they've got it or not. Because let's be real, the shit is down there deep. We don't know what's down there unless we don't have anybody going in there that I'm aware of. Israel maybe did have somebody that maybe they can say, no, we're not quite there. But the reality is we don't know. And when you play too conservative with your, let's just give him a shot. That's when the guy takes the hammer and goes from the car to the woman's head, right? We waited too long.
Ice, the zit has already popped. The zit has already popped, Ice. When the Ayatollah was taken out and 200 other executives at the fake meeting they orchestrated, you would think that if they had a failsafe, they would flip that switch and say, fuck it, we've already lost, and we will dispense everything. Don't believe the lies about these cave fortresses. If you gotta bring a fucking rocket out of a hole from a mountain, you can blow that fucking hole to hell, and they ain't bringing out nothing. So it's not a fail-safe. There's no such thing as a perfectly secure military fortress. You are living in fucking La La Land, in my opinion. You're living in fucking La La Land, in my opinion.
So again, it's the issue of crying wolf. We heard this about Saddam Hussein and the weapons of mass destruction. Exactly what you said. We heard this about Assad with chemical weapons. Look, everything. Again, you cannot get mad at the American people for doubting what the United States government has been crying wolf with several other fucking leaders, several other countries, several other fucking conflicts. Again, it's been lie after lie after lie. And it's been our tax dollars. It's been our sons and daughters' blood. Okay? So again, we're not the ones that you have to have an issue with. It's the United States fucking government. We're done. We're tired of fucking being lied to. And if the United States government cared that fucking much, Ice, they wouldn't have told all them fucking lies.
Okay, so the few times that the IAEA with. Is the IAEA American? Is that an American establishment that we use, or is that something that's international? Is that our intelligence? When the IAEA goes in to study this and says this is our findings, is that American intelligence, or is that something that comes from abroad?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that question. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's an international agency, so that's why I'm saying, and I'm not sitting here saying that I don't know what our intelligence told us. None of us are going to know the exact thing. They're not going to tell us all what's going on, but I'll tell you this. I just know what the agency that the world relies on, what they said. And when we wait, you can wait a little too long because the nuclear technology now...
That's not true, though, is it, Alex?
Hold on.
You just said the IAEA.
Hold on. So I got to ask you a question.
They truly said it wasn't, Iran wasn't enriching any uranium, and the American intelligence itself, Tom Scott, said no one had any belief that Iran was enriching uranium. So I don't, if your argument is you're basing it on intelligence, then I don't really understand where that's coming from.
Hold on. So let's just say Iran has a lot hidden in those mountain ranges, and they've had it for years. What's the indication that they were going to strike the U.S.? And I'm going to be honest, because someone mentioned it earlier, when we talk about imminent threats who have nukes to the U.S., Kim Jong-un's been popping shit for a very long time. And now wants him to go over there and take away his toys. So this, for out of let's just say, it's just crazy to me how, like, whimsically in 2025 we just gotta go and start fucking with them, and then we do it again. So, like, where is this innate disposition for the U.S. to now all of a sudden under this administration just go count them as an immediate threat? Then we're over there, we're saying it's a regime change. Then the administration, Trump ain't even said, he's like, hey, that's straight for moves. Let's take that. Let's also take into account, right? Trump is fucked with his adversaries, China and Russia, who get a lot of their oil from that strip. So it was kind of like a play from the Trump's administration to say, hey, let's kind of fuck with our, our major players. That way we can kind of regulate what they have going on. But obviously it's not working.
So, Mister, I'll just say this: like currently in Korea, we walked across the DMZ. Kim Jong Un hasn't done shit with Trump in office because I'll be quite frank, he's probably terrified and probably wants to work on economic relations. And there's been some talks, but those go under the radar. Also, we have a whole DMZ zone that pretty much guarantees we're doing something there. And we currently have their entire navy, their naval fleet, including most of their fishing fucking things, locked in a harbor. They aren't getting out. They don't have the capabilities to do absolutely anything except stay there. He can launch a missile, but there is nothing going on. He's encircled. He's trapped in. And China and every other nation is not really giving North Korea the big out. In fact, they have a working relationship, but it's not as cozy as people think or the news media would make it out to be, because China really doesn't allow a lot of the North Koreans to cross over, and they've done a lot of things to North Koreans that have, like, quote, moved in and tried to disappear into the interior of China. They pop them right back and drop them over onto North Korea's soil. So there's not like this whole...
What are you caring about that country?
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
Wait, I'm gonna finish, and then you can speak, and when you're done fucking, like, licking whatever it is off the floor.
So,
service
you
announcement.
do that
Public,
shit.
hang on. Public service announcement to the retards that just entered the stage. People are talking, so shut the fuck up and wait your turn. Go ahead, Brandon. Yeah, so like we have been we have a ton of sanctions on them, and North Korea just is irrelevant at this point. But it's, in terms of the IAEA or whatever it is, the Alphabet Agency, they have confirmed in 2023, they confirmed that Iran was at 60%. They stated that this is well beyond the weapons grade, and it was 90% of completion of the ability to create it, because 60% is really, like, the hard part's over. It's just now basically a production factor and then putting it into a device to launch it. So this now becomes a massive problem. And then they said in 2025, prior to this, that yes, Iran has confirmed from multiple sites, from the information that they have, that they are still in or exceeding the 60% threshold, and that they currently have 450 some kilograms or something like that they were able to confirm that Iran has. And the belief was, if they were able to confirm this much with the way that Iran has not been open to inspection, and with what they see, there was beliefs that there may be actually more than we're aware of. So the reports actually came out before Trump even bombed the 12-day war and all of this stuff, and we knew this, and it even occurred under Biden's administration. This was ongoing with issues. So I'm confused why people just don't say that they didn't say anything.
No, I'm all right. Please stop. We're having a dialogue. You get it after us.
Yeah,
Hey, my God damn, man, yo, you fucking idiot, bro. Give them a couple moments to go back and forth, and then we're gonna move on to the rest of the stage, please. I'm asking you. Go ahead, Mr. Shea, Brandon, go ahead, guys.
Thank you. Now, I'm not disputing everything you're saying, Viking. What I am saying is this, is like, I kind of used North Korea just as an example of an immediate threat with nukes. Now, we may have it contained, quote unquote, but at the same time, we're talking about a pressing threat. Now, I know you mentioned them getting closer and closer with reports from the IRGC in 2020. But again, I guess my mind is still saying, okay, well, they've been under development, quote unquote, for years. So I'm pretty sure they got it. But there's no, like, I'm trying to figure out, are there any reports that state that, like, hey, once Iran gets this completed, they're going to just start blowing shit up and coming right at the U.S. Like, that to me is what I'm trying to understand as far as, like, this immediate need, or why we just popped up and started fucking with them last year.
So the concern that has been iterated is not necessarily that they would desperate, like maybe they might try to reach us. And we are where they have IRBCs, which are interregional ballistic missiles. They have that capability. IRBMs, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. They don't have ICBMs, but they have IRBMs, and then they have ballistic missiles. So we're where they have these two different factions. And a lot of our politicians just automatically go to ICBMs. I don't know why they don't say the right thing. But these IRBMs, if they could be equipped, even with a dirty a bomb of sorts, these would prove to be very, very difficult. launches, that Israel wouldn't launch the 7 that they have, and then we'd have a nuclear holocaust. We would have something untold. It's not just about them preventing them for us. It's more of preventing it for the region. Because if you imagine if they launch, or Israel launches, now all of a sudden it's not just those nations that are affected, it's the entire freaking area, the entire region, multiple countries.
Bro, we be on the line.
Yeah, nuclear holocaust won't happen. If there's a nuclear strike, it's strategic and it's to a military, predetermined coordinate, and the world is going to have to eat it. But if you don't think there's ever going to be a nuclear detonation when we spend fucking trillions and other countries spend it's the biggest firework man has ever created, and we love to pop fireworks.
We only want to have done it. It's a crisis has been waiting patiently, and thank you, Crisis. I appreciate you got the mic, brother.
I've been waiting patience, and I also did.
Shut the fuck up. You just got on some little. You're going to be waiting downstairs in the kitchen, man. Shut the fuck up, man. Get tired of fucking
Thanks, Ben.
Take your ass down in the kitchen, make some sandwiches, bitch. Crisis, you got it. Make sure your bitch.
Sid, were you the one I mentioned earlier about like the different tactics?
Stupid American motherfucker, listen to me.
What the fuck is going on right now? What the fuck is going on right now?
You can talk down in the kitchen while you making sandwiches with Iman.
Yeah, Sid, were you the one I mentioned earlier about the tactics?
Which tactics? Which ones?
In terms of like the different types of warfare, right?
Yeah. I did touch on it earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, like, I'm not really sure where people get this doom and gloom when it comes to the American military capabilities. But they're vastly ignorant of our capability. And I definitely agree with everything you were saying earlier, because it's we were calling it adjusting. In the military, I think when they say adjust, in the Marine call it adjust, adapt. And
Same thing we saw with Russia and Ukraine. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and you can probably confirm this for me as well. Positions on the board. And I wanted to get your take on that, because I heard you say it earlier. I just didn't know if you had stuff to that point. And I'm going on mute because I'm in the middle of packing. I'm in the middle of the move.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. So here's the thing. Yeah, kinetically we could drop a couple of nukes on Iran right now and just be fucking done. But again, there's gonna be thousands, tens of thousands of dead civilians, babies, women, elderly. The United States can't do that. It's optically, that's going to be a horrible fucking look. So that's not even an option on the table right now. Unless Iran becomes such an imminent threat to our civilian population, then that would be the only acceptable reason to use that option. So when it comes to adapting, we don't have what it takes right now. We don't have what it takes right now to go in as cleanly as our administration has been telling us we can. Because I swear to God, dude.
So fucking interrupted.
Hold up, Sing, because you're about to. I want you to continue. But like when people jump off the mic, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
They're retarded. They got 2 brain cells, brother. They got IQ of about 50.
Okay, because I got special forces in my family. So like I've heard them speak about this conflict the way that you've been speaking about conflict. And it's really just a question of how far do we want to take it. If we want to take it to total warfare or full spectrum warfare, it's a wrap. But that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah, well, the vast majority of the American people don't want to do that because we understand what the cost is. That's why the real debate is a juice worth the squeeze. We can do it. There's no question.
I have another question for you. Say, I heard you say that it's not on the table, but isn't it also on the table?
Fuck are you asking him a question in the middle of him answering the question? What kind of sense is that?
You said
He's in the middle of answering a question.
you fucking asked him a question too, Bobo.
Can you ask him a question after answering
You
something?
just did the exact same thing, buddy. So don't critique.
Just real quick, and then everybody, we can open up the floor again. So no, it's on the table, but America has to have a really good justification in order to drop nukes. We can do it. There's no question about it. We can do it and completely be done in 2 seconds. But have a really good justification for the rest of the world while they kill tens of millions of innocent women, children, and elderly in the process. All right. So what I'm thinking that the only justification we could have to do it is if Iran poses an imminent threat to our civilian population inside the borders of the United States of America. That would be the only viable. If not, it's bad PR, bro. It's sick PR.
That's the reason why I'm asking you, Sid, because you think that we need to pay attention to the world cup that's coming up in the U.S.
Oh my God. I can't answer that.
When the whole world is traveling to one place.
Miss Mandrade, señorita, bonita, hermosa.
Something most likely to happen during that time.
Now you're getting into conspiracies, but let's say I'm also more important to us.
Okay, real quick, let me just, because this is what you just asked before. So now, you kind of diverted over to the topic of terrorist attacks. And this is where Robert Page, he's actually, like, this is one of the things that he's really well known for. So he was one of the first professors to actually source every single terroristic attack to try to gain some insight on why they occur and how frequently they occur and when they occur. What he found, this was like devastating news, okay, is that a lot of people assume Islam, when it comes to the Middle East and it comes to Arabs and Islam, that the attacks are rooted in religion. And his study and his college paper found out that it wasn't. That there weren't that many terrorist attacks. Once America invades a country, boom, the terrorist attacks shoot up, right? 90% is what he found out in this shit. All right, so what we're looking at is, statistically speaking, once we ground invade
Trump's
Iran,
the sun.
that's more than likely when we're going to start seeing the terrorist attacks happen. We're going to start seeing these sleeper cells activate. Again, this is speculation. This is based off his research. This is based off his publications. Is that the terrorist isn't really religious based. It's more politically based.
Beloved.
And that happens to be when we invade other territories.
And then whenever you're saying like the optics, they wouldn't do it for the optics, but do you think that a president would make statements, the last 2 or 3 statements that Donald Trump made, if they were concerned about optics? Think about that.
Okay, so can we say something for dropping a nuclear bomb? The optics for that.
No, I understand, but think about what he said about civilization, ending of civilization. Praise be to Allah. Like, it's not normal shit that a president says. I don't think he gives a fuck about optics.
Well, here's the thing. If he didn't give a fuck about, right? But here's the thing, though, and you're right. But here's the thing, though. What's transpired in the last few days is that he made that threat to wipe out an entire civilization. And then, an hour or 2 before that deadline, he said that Iran gave him a 10-point request list, that is workable, right? And then Iran has consistently been posting their 10-point list and has never changed it. And so that's why everybody's skeptical. Was like, wait a minute, you said it was a workable 10-point list, and this is the 10-point list they've been showing since day fucking 1. Then all of a sudden, Caroline Levitt comes on in front of the people and says, he threw, if you think that 10-point list that they've been presenting for for this past month, a little over a month, almost a month and a half. If you think that's the list President Trump was referring to, no, he threw that list in the trash. So now the American people have the question, okay, so what 10-point list are you talking about that's different from the one they've been consistently posting for the last month and a half? And this is where the White House has completely went silent now. And this is a bad look. This is a bad look for the White House and the president.
Okay, so so can I speak?
Yeah, go right ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I think, like, okay, so my biggest issue in terms of what's going on right now in the Middle East is America's war in the Middle East is not for Americans, it's for Israel, number one. Number two, it's like, I don't get it. Why would Israel not get a weapon to protect themselves? Especially looking at what's going on in the Middle East. Like, I don't get how people think that Pakistan had, nuclear weapon because of India. So if Israel has that weapon, why would Iran have it? I don't get it. Especially looking at what's going on in Palestine, looking at what's going on in Lebanon, Syria, in front of their nose. And all of a sudden, people in that region have to keep quiet. You cannot protect yourself because America said if you protect yourself, we're going to bomb you. And America don't even take shit from the UN. They don't take shit from the UN. So who in the hell, who would sit in a neighborhood when one particular person is bombing everybody, but you're not expected to protect yourself with a weapon that they also have? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Hey,
Have you ever played chess, sir? Have you ever played checkers? It's called game theory. That's how it makes sense, sir.
Sir, please, can I finish? See, the 20 years ago is not the 20 years now. People have moved on. People know who America is outside America. People have seen American tactics. People have seen Israeli tactics. We are no more than 20 years ago. People have to plan for the future. People have to put.
Sir, it's 2026. There's only the now.
Excuse me, sir, please. Thank you. So again, America is not the god of the world. He's just a country like any other person. Everybody have the right to protect themselves. Instead of what's going on in the world. It's only a fool who wouldn't go and get a nuclear weapon. Looking at what's going on right now,
Sir, are you an illegal alien in America? I just heard geese. Are you on a nature walk? Are those geese? Are you an illegal alien in America?
Go ahead, Tom. You can finish it. You can finish.
Okay. The person who have ever used a nuclear weapon is America. He should not even be the one talking when it comes to nuclear weapon. Who's supposed to use it? He's the one who has ever used a nuclear weapon on a country. So why is he even the police of nuclear weapons? He's not even supposed to be using it or even talking about it. But he's the only person who has used it and killed innocent people. So who gives him the right to be talking about other people how to get a nuclear weapon or not? This is ridiculous. Every country, a sovereign country, has the right to get a nuclear weapon if they feel that they are being threatened by another country. Being it Iran, being it Israel, being it Palestinian, being it, how do you call it,
Palestine is a sovereign country.
Hold on, excuse me, sir.
Sir, are you an illegal alien living in America? I just heard some geese flying overhead, sir.
You can go to Poland, excuse me, sir. You can go to Poland back where you came from. You can go to Poland, Russia, so again, so hold on.
I was born in Africa, you fuck.
Which part of Africa, sir? Which part of Africa?
You fucking cunt.
So you're an Arab too. So you migrated and became a Jew,
You fucking racist.
Never had one lesson.
They are defining what it is to us. We know who they are. We know where they come from. It's just like you telling me I have a land. A stranger comes into my land and say that is part of him too. No, we know where you come from, sir. We know where you smell where you come from. So regardless whether you are there for 20 years, 100 years, we know where you come from. So we can trace you to where you come from. Your name says it. Your language says it. Where you come from? Excuse me, sir. Where you come from? Where did you come from? Please. You are not. So I was putting you are the son of the Arab. No, you dumb fuck. You're embarrassing me right now.
Okay, so Tomo, okay, we're getting off topic. So let's get back on topic. What were you saying?
Exactly. Let me finish. Yeah, let me finish. So I'm just saying this. Looking at what's going on in the world, like everybody has. Why are you gay? So what the gay got to do about this? These guys are crazy. Anyway, if they cannot have a quality conversation, they just turn up to gay. This guy's a fool. Anyway, so I'm saying it. Look at what's going on in the world. Everybody has to protect themselves. It's only a fool who's going to see somebody's ass burning and somebody put water underneath his ass. That's crazy. And the person who is burning somebody is calling somebody terrorist. Can you imagine? The people who kill people are calling people terrorists. Who are you? The definition of terrorist is you. It's crazy.
That's where I gotta agree with him, man. Like, we go over there fucking with people's sovereignty. We beat our chest about God-given rights and the pursuit of
Talk to my echo, thought it was all. Little universe on my pillow, spinning circles in my skull. Wrote my name across the cosmos, still the silence swallowed it whole. You cut through the storm of my mind like lightning through a painted sky. Jesus, you reveal what is real, pulling out all the lies inside. I am not the only one. You lead me to the one true light. Mystery falling from my eyes. Truth herself in your open side. I called it wisdom, just a spiral. Or play a cage around my doubt. Every answer led to absence. Every secret just shut me out. Then you stepped into my nightmare. Tore the curtain, broke the spell. Said you love before you question. Child, you're more than your
Now, give me the RGC, a nuclear weapon that's ready to go with the fucking delivery system. Guarantee you they're gonna fucking use it. Give fucking Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi one when they were alive, they would use it. There's a big difference, bro. Israel probably, if anybody has a right to fucking use it, the amount.
I know, you keep talking about hypotheticals of people who might use it.
I'm not talking.
That's hypothetical. It actually is hypothetical.
Holy shit.
Whereas just told you that the USA, he just told you that the USA has definitively and conclusively and factually used nuclear weapons. So speak about that point, please, baby, because you keep talking about hypotheticals whereby people might use nuclear weapons. This guy might do that. He might do that and you just stop him. He told you the USA has conclusively and factually used it. So speak to that point. So far, there's only one country that's ever used it. Speak to that point. Stop talking about hypotheticals, please, baby.
I don't need to speak to that point. I'm talking about Israel. He's saying that every country deserves to have a nuclear weapon. I'm saying absolutely no.
You just said that you're not, and Iran and all the rest of it would use it. Yeah, because you don't have a response.
Not every country deserves a nuclear weapon. Not every country wholeheartedly tell me that every country deserves to have a nuclear weapon. Tell me yes or no.
Strikes with its jagged claws.
How are you saying that unprovoked, bro?
Hold on, guys. Okay, so now more than likely that they kill people. Less likely, but it's
Storm
people have
of
a
silence.
start letting
A
everybody
broken
damn sure gonna see a nuclear freaking holocaust. Why? Because someone out there is going to say, fuck it, it's not going down, I will fire.
You made the illustration that you made the illustration in literally
I would call that a well-regulated area. The odds of getting away with something stupid there are very slim. And when we're talking about a nuclear weapon, you can say, fuck it, they're gonna kick my ass. Let's just say it was Iran attacking the US, okay? We're not letting these guys go.
on the neon skies where the star comes.
Now, Iran doesn't kick me out. Just wait. The more people that have
Shadows whisper truths as the baseline drums. Your will is fire. Unchained, untamed. No path is written, no soul is bled. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Feel the swords, let the silence fill. Your will, unswayed, he's alive.
Libya now, do you think if Libya had the weapons that they had, do you think anybody can go through the shit they did? And when they fucked up Libya, who gives a fuck? Nobody gives a fuck. Everybody goes to their main house and country and drink tea. Like nobody cares about the Libya. You fucked it up because of your so-called fucking strength. You fucked people's lives up. When you tell people who's you have the nuclear weapon or not, when you have it. When they tell people, you tell people that is having nuclear weapon or not, when you have it, you really don't make no fucking sense. And you tell people like you have to hold on. You remember since you are the adult and these are kids, they don't know how to who they kids with the right to do whether they should have it or not. When you have it. This shit don't make no fucking sense. Probably irrational Africans like you want to know. You know, if you call yourself African, you call yourself Arab in the first place. Nobody listens to you anyway because you know what you have. You guys have a problem with understanding Why are you acting like you think I'm God? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you stupid or what? No, you're stupid. Anyways, no. So, truth. So, there's between America and these other countries that you're talking about. These other countries want to die. They believe that this is how you fucking serious. You don't care. You're telling them they want to die. You go take their land. They say they want to die. You are killing part of this. You think you want to die.
There's one problem with your point.
You don't want to die. You go and kill people and say they want to die. They take their land.
Let me just let me say one thing to you, Stevie. Maybe there's just issues with what you just said. First of all, I never referred to this particular. I never referred to any particular company. I never referred to any particular company having necessarily anything like that. And the second problem we have is you can go to all these other potential people and say that they are terrorists. But we can also look at the facts on the ground as to who has actually used nuclear weapons. And we all know that one particular country, right? So you are operating for the remember, you're operating the rest of hypotheticals. I'm sure one of those guys who's prepared facts and all this stuff. However, if you're ignorant to that fact, that's your problem, Jimmy. But the point is, You keep saying other people when other people use weapons of mass destruction. Well, you haven't. You haven't.
Hunger's the beast. It's constantly.
Instead of deciding
And when BB starts to answer, you start talking over it. You want to talk about fucking moral compass, but all you want to do is dog pile when someone has a complete fucking opposite opinion. Same in that fucking topo fucking guy. Just fucking have fucking BB fucking answer and then reply. Jesus, man.
I think you should keep quiet so your dad can be your thoughts. You have the floor. Please answer simple everyone.
Point though. There's no point. There's nobody rational like you're gonna be able to respond. I don't understand how Americans on this stage don't understand the difference between fucking radical Islam and fucking Western civilization and the difference between people that want to live.
Let's talk about facts.
And there you go. Doing the same thing. The exact same thing. Again, interrupting. Can't help it. Put a cop came up, boy. Talk to him. Whatever I'm done, you can pull it out. I thought this was stop. Interrupting.
You know,
Oh my God.
you don't need to share your hobbies with us. Just answer the question.
Your future, your sister, fucking dirty Armenian fuck. Shut the fuck up. Genocide's over for the Armenians. Stop crying, you fucking weak son.
Okay, maybe you have anything more substance to say.
I'm just gonna be saying, you know what I'm saying? But you weak fucking cuckold fucks that got no life.
Yeah.
Let anybody be smart.
showing that he doesn't have anything to say. So we're going to take this fucking population. So presumably you're so concerned about the Iranian population. That's your concern, right? Like you just think so strongly and deeply about the Iranian people. That's why you think, you know, the Iranian regime and so on needs to be dismantled. I guess you've seen what's happened with ICE killing American civilians and all the rest of it. Do you think on that basis,
American civilians. ICE doesn't attack American civilians, so again, he's lying.
So no American citizen, no American citizen will have ICE. Okay, fine. So we're just gonna make shit up now. Yeah, I know the lawyer, but what she get American citizen on?
Instead of worrying about what the fucking national dish of England tiki masala flavors were to be this week, why don't you actually fucking bring up a point that actually has some bearings of a slang, because you clearly don't know more than I do, and you clearly are the most ignorant on this thing.
You can make that statement if you want.
How many police officers are trained to actually stand in front of a live engine block? If the engine block on a car is live, do you think they're going to just stand there and try to get out the way, or do you think they're going to start fighting?
So his cover move was actually on point. He shifted over from the rear to assess whether it came through the passenger side.
and then he went to the front to provide cover while there was a third officer on the other officer's right at the back watching for that action. So he covered his angles right because in case he did have to fire since she was acting aggressive and it was uncertain what she had in there, he had the best line of sight in order to draw his weapon and fire because it was the safest way. If he didn't on the passenger side, he would have shot the other officers.
Through the flames and the embers, the smell is the smoke. Your arrows and slinging, the springs tend to glow. A force wild and brilliant, a power I know.
So the fact that I'm standing up for the person who was in front of the line, it was not in the role that it is. And the fact that he tried to do it because they did it, I was so much better.
What happens if all of a sudden he gets traction? His job isn't to protect himself. His job is to protect anybody around it. If somebody's driving erratically on don't look at the number of attacks. The number of assaults. Now, we use the violation of federal law. Anything else, it's no longer appropriate. That's a severe threat. A man who is illegally carrying a gun
through the flames and the embers, the smell is the smoke.
isn't going out.
Your arrows and slinging, the springs tend to glow. A force wild and brilliant, a power in
Well, for me, I was trained anywhere from 10 feet because that distance too close. Different reaction. I had to do auxiliary security. So we did a lot like in there. It was the 15 circle, 15 foot radius because even then that was still considered dangerous in that square, right?
It's 21 is what it really is. But they talk to you about the circle within the circle. There's a circle that you originally perimeter yourself with, and you have to understand distance from that circle. But when you're talking about a vehicle, that's a whole different game. When people use those examples, this fact that this is a person who lost a family member to a fucking cop who didn't do the right thing. And I'm still willing to stand up for the fact that they're not all bad people, bro. Like, this shit is crazy.
Literally had cops in the town that I live in that knew the gentleman with the knife.
I scan something real quick. I scan something. So, Christ, just a little context for Mr. Truth and Troll. Here's something
Please mute up and stop interrupting Truth. Stop interrupting. Let him fucking finish and mute your mic.
So they were putting water down the officers while they'd be walking. They would slip and fall. They were throwing pepper spray out there. So they were causing a lot of physical harm. And now these officers in an intense chaos are dealing with individuals that are coming out in a vehicle to interfere in justice duty and then turn around and try to target them with a vehicle. And so the temperature is highly elevated, and then your projection is our government with ICE is killing civilians.
You know what, Stevie,
Trying to correlate it
I tell you
with the
about that.
higher DC mowing down civilians, innocent civilians that were protesting, and you want to correlate the United States to Iran.
Stevie, you know what? You're right. So you're saying ICE is tackling agitators, right? And therefore it's justified. Do you think the Iranian government should also then tackle agitators as it seems fit within Iran?
Do they have the same laws as we do?
I answer the question, Stevie.
No. Do they have the same laws?
No. Chris on prices. If you please just let Stevie answer the question, because he just put forward.
Truth or troll, you're such a fucking troll, you fucking twat. When that fucking bitch in her car got shot, there's a big difference between what that and the RIGC is doing by indiscriminately shooting into crowds of thousands of people, killing 40,000 people, versus killing 2 people in Minneapolis. Truth or troll, just stop it. Just stop it, truth or troll. You're just a troll. You're not saying nothing. You're making no points. And you just keep talking. So I'll just keep going too. This is fucking ridiculous. You're such a fucking wanker. You tosser.
That's a great impression. That's
fucking wanker. You fucking tosser.
Should the Iranian government stop what they consider agitators, given what you just said about ICE, stopping quote-unquote American agitators? So yes or no question.
So where's the proof that protesters were physically trying to harm?
Oh, so now you need proof all of a sudden, Steffi.
Well, I presented proof to you when you claimed that.
And this is exactly the mental gymnastics. This is exactly the kind of mental gymnastics you have to convince yourself of, to try and push these strange narratives, frankly speaking. You just spent about 5 minutes making a case for what ICE is justified in tackling American citizens who it considers to be agitators. The question then was, should Iranians tackle who they consider agitators? And all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know. Should they not? And this is the core issue that keeps playing time and time again is, you think there's a set of standards that should be applied to you and your views and who you support, and there's a different set of standards that needs to be applied to other people. Okay? So you think, for instance, I was justified to tackle American agitators. Iranians and Iran is not supposedly allowed to tackle what it considers agitators. You think the USA should have nuclear weapons to defend itself. You don't think other countries should have nuclear weapons to defend itself. So just come out and say, Steffi, you think there's one particular set of rules that should apply to you and who you support, who you back, and there's a different set of rules that should apply to everyone else. Just come out and say that, though. Let's get to some common grounds. Okay? From then on, we can build a picture of what society and all the rest of it, and also have this response. If you at least acknowledge that point.
Can you give us some substance? You just went on a 5-minute mumble jumble about bullshit when Crisis and John gave you legitimate reason, and myself. So can you provide us with substance? Welcome, Howard. Welcome, B-May.
Okay, I'll give you some substance. I'll repeat it again. I've made this point before, Steffi, but I'll say it again for your benefit. You said you're scared, for instance, you're scared that other countries who might have nuclear weapons, and this is a justified fear, by the way, that I might even agree with you on. You said other countries might use weapons of mass destruction or nuclear weapons to destroy other parts of society. So that's a hypothetical, and you're right to question that. However, when you question that and you use that as a basis to say no one else should have nuclear weapons, then there's a very valid question that also needs to be asked, which is, well, who else has used nuclear weapons? And guess who has used nuclear weapons? Steady, because it wasn't any other country, right? So if we're going to play this game of we shouldn't let people have nuclear weapons because they might use it against other people, then a fair question is, well, who has used nuclear weapons against who? And should they have it, right? But you don't seem to be like interested in that particular point or something. Which again brings us to this point of maybe you do think there's more particular sets of rules for you protect back and so on and so forth, and everyone else. But guess what? That's just a preference at that point, right?
I understand.
That's not law. That's not the human rights. That's not anything.
Being told
That's the trade. That's technical meanings that it has. And guess what? There's many people like you said, there's a lot of Iranians have a preference. There's a lot of non-Koreans have a preference.
Listen, I understand you don't like the information that I gave you, and you have to deflect it. That's fine. I totally understand that. You're entitled to it. So hey, we brought you up legitimate reasons. You targeted the ICE, saying how bad ICE is, and it was killing, and we brought that up to you.
I did say that.
So yes, okay, deflect. That's fine. But
I didn't say that.
So I'm actually we're listening, and we're gonna. So if you want to give random bullshit, conspiracies or deflecting everything that's being discussed about, deflect with someone else. B-May, Howard, welcome.
I guess you don't have anything to say.
Well,
You don't have anything to say.
Well, because they're respectful. They see that we're having a conversation. Unlike you have to jump in.
Okay, that's
and
great.
mitigate.
I am disrespectful and all the rest of it. Do you have anything of substance to say, though, Stephen? Aside from dissecting me and how I speak and how I sound and how much of an asshole I am, do you have anything of substance to actually say? I guess not.
Since they were developed and used for the very first time, who's used them since then?
Yeah, hi everyone. BB came up. BB, did you wanna say anything before I do? Okay, I don't think
We
BB does.
jumped into the concept that yes, America's the only place to ever use them, but that was we just developed it, we dropped it, and we've learned. Not a good idea. Learn from the errors of our past, haven't we? Now we haven't done it. We're a lot less likely to do it. Do I think anybody should have them? No. I think everybody should get rid of them. But why don't we? Because everybody's afraid that somebody's going to hide 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 100, right? And we know you're not going to get Russia to agree to get rid of them. So, unfortunately, this is all, a great song and dance. But the reality is it's mad. It's mutually assured destruction. That's what it is, and I don't think that we should at all have them for anybody. You want to know the truth, but I do believe that if you start letting them wild, I said this in the chat. Give Somalia one. Let's see what Somalia does when that falls into the wrong hands and they get pissed at the wrong people.
Well, if they use them once, then
I have to push back on this because he's saying that us putting the nuke down on Hiroshima was just testing. Brother, they were already testing.
I said we dropped
in the
it.
ocean.
We didn't know what they
There was no test.
actually reading what you're writing in the chat. I was just waiting for you to say it on the stage.
Oh no. Yeah, I think everybody was. You came on stage, usually people won't come on stage. I want to
Well,
talk.
I already came out with a.
This is
thing
Alice.
that divided me. I'm perfectly happy in the chat.
Listen, there's something that most people are unaware of and can't detect. That is a great equilibrium, a great balance that is always at play. It sounds ridiculous, but many of you are living with friction in your life, and that's because essentially your projection is in conflict with Donald Trump's projection. And a lot of people have TDS, it's true, and it is in the DSMV, 1492. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. The equilibrium, this is not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. This was years in the making. And if you don't think that this Iran operation, they're fully tracked, Israel and Mossad and these satellites, they're doing 3D real-time imaging of the enemy troop movements. So if the point is, the Iranians have to come into compliance. It's like the IRS where I used to work. Their big motto, slogan is come into compliance. That's all we want. We want you to come into compliance. It's the same principle. And so in the world of geopolitics, realpolitik, people need to come into compliance. And a lot of people here say, what gives you that right? The point is, the now gives us the right. That's the compression of World War II. The greatest battle in human fucking history. Hundreds of millions dead. Nuclear war to the highest degree. An entire nation mobilized to create a force of energy that can deliver knockout blows. And we still got it. And we've reinvested 100-fold. We've got the keys to Armageddon. We control the planet, amongst other nations. So the point is, the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. There's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. I am complete.
Oh, you mean no one
So see, hold up. So Iran does not have to adhere to the U.S. or Israel. Like, it's called the war of attrition, brother. Look at our damn economy. Look at the gas. I mean, inflation's at all.
I just ate Indian food. Look at the first coming out of my tuchus. The point is, you can't accept it. You got friction. You got friction.
He said some other shit before that.
You got friction.
Okay, well, I can't accept it. I don't know what I'm accepting.
You're asking about the war that he referenced.
No, he just says radical nonsense and then just gets upset. You know what I'm saying? Well, just because you talk.
That's projection alert. Let me hit my projection drum. Projection drum has been hit.
Responsibly. You know what I mean? And part of it being responsibly is understanding that dropping nukes or having nukes, especially if you're having nukes in different territories that are may or may not, because we don't know. All of this is everything we're speaking of.